Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are you all? Um, okay, I hope all of you can see me. Am I audible? Am I visible? Is my screen visible? Please respond. Yes. Let's wait for some time for people to join. Yep. Please respond in the chat box if I'm audible, everyone, if all of you can see me. No, yes. Okay, perfect. All right, so I will start the session. Firstly, thank you so much for responding, guys. All right, starting with the base of this session, basically, I was taking some legal update session, and I had a lot of question. There was a huge influx of question that I received from my students asking, what is the purpose of these legal updates? Why are we studying these legal updates? I mean, uh, in CLAT, they usually ask questions regarding legal reasoning. That is all conceptual. Why are we reading about legal updates and legal, GK and legal updates, basically? So this session is basically to clear all such doubts of yours, and you'll get a huge perspective today, and it also can be an eye opener, I would say, right? So I'm sure you would be having all these questions. What is legal update? Why are we supposed to read legal updates? And those of you who are already aware of why these topics are important, I'm considering that you have heard our toppers uh, talking about these legal developments that goes around, and how did they prepare through these legal developments, right? I'm assuming that, and on that safe assumption, I'm assuming that you would be having questions regarding how to go about it, right? So there are a lot of questions that I'm going to cover today, and I'm sure a lot of your doubts are going to get clear today itself, right? So just hold back for some time if you have any question, and because I'm sure by the end of the session all your questions would be clear, or you will get all your answers. And still, if you have any question, I would urge you to have some patience, right? I'm not going anywhere, I'll be here only, and at the end of the session you may ask your questions, right? So starting with, what are legal updates per se, right? So ma'am, when you talk about legal updates, है क्या legal updates? है ना? What are we supposed to read here? I mean, what are these? Firstly, legal updates, simply in simple fashion, you would be reading Manthan, or you would be reading newspaper, or you would be reading any GK compendium. What are those? Those are basically daily GK developments that take place, right? So legal updates are also the same thing. It's just that the legal perspective of that, right? Talking about the Supreme Court judgment, the appointments, the amendments, right? The bills that are there on which a lot of controversy or a lot of discussions are happening. All of those constitute legal updates. Now, talking about why legal updates, why are we focusing, or why are you focusing, ma'am, so much on legal updates, right? I'll give you a certain idea about it. First of all, I believe that some of you would already be aware of that. But even if you're aware of that, I would definitely, I'm not going to leave you with that, right? We will get into the discussion of legal updates, and we'll see how these legal updates had their own play, had their own game in the previous year question paper, and you'll be surprised to see the evidences that I've got today, right? So starting with the whys, right? Why are we reading about legal updates? Now, if you look at the previous year question paper, I am assuming, I'm positively, very optimistically, I'm assuming that all of you would have at least gone through the previous year question paper at least once by now, right? On that presumption, if you have seen those question paper, if you have seen the topics, the subject matters on which the passages are based on, especially in legal reasoning section, you would realize that all those passages, they just do not come out of blue. ओके ऐसा नहीं है एग्जामिनर एक दिन जाग गया और उनको सपना आ गया कि हमें ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछने. It's not like that. There is a solid base of it, and that is the current legal developments that are going on. if you see the question paper, the previous year question paper, you would realize that there are a lot of passages like that which are based on the legal development that took place that year per se, right? I will show you how it is all interrelated. Second thing is, I'm very sure that a lot of you would be aware of how reading speed has its own role in this examination, right? If you have a good reading speed, you have got a great advantage out there. If you do not have good reading speed, you would be working on that. I'm very sure about it. Now, why are we working so much on, or why are we stressing so much on reading speed? That is to ensure that we finish the paper on time, or at least we get enough time to attend the entire paper, right? Now, what if I tell you that if you're already prepared with your legal section, means if you're already prepared with the conceptual background of the legal topics that are there in the legal updates, it will get very easy for you to tackle all those passages. It will get very easy for you to find out the principle. I'm sure a lot of you would be struggling with finding out the principle in a particular passage. How many of you are here who is facing that problem? That, ma'am, sometimes I just do not get what is the principle in this particular passage. I sometimes I tend to see 10 principles, sometimes I tend to see no principle at all. Yes, I'm very sure that there would be some people here who would be struggling with that. Why are you struggling with that? The real reason is that you do not know, or you do not have the conceptual clarity, or at least you're not aware of that particular concept, right? Abhi achanak se, if I give you the concept of electoral bond, which has not been taught in the class, or you have not read about it, suddenly if you get a passage on it, of course it is going to take a huge lot of time to you to figure out what are the principle, and then apply that to the fact that is given in the question, and then get to the answer, which is again some different game altogether, right? Now, that is why we are focusing so much on legal updates. Now, what are we supposed to read, or what are we supposed to focus on? First and foremost is, whenever you are reading newspaper or any GK compendium or anything of that sort, first and foremost is look at what context that news is there in the paper. We do not care about politics. We do not care about the stories that is going on, right? If you are interested, of course, you can read it, but we are particularly for the legal section, we are not really very concerned about those facts. We are concerned about the background that it holds. Background means what? Background means legal background I'm talking about. If you see anything that has something to do with constitution, mark it very important. If you see anything with regard to the very basic laws that we have, like CRPC, right? Mark it very important, right? All of these areas are your hot shot, to tick those areas basically. Yeah, you should always have something for those areas ready, and that is where I'm making your work very easy for you, or basically I'm saving your time that way, right? Now, what else? Ma'am, background to dekhiya. What else? You firstly, there would be students who would be now very enthusiastic, and they would be like, okay, ma'am, now I'm going to do PhD in these areas, right? We do not need PhD. We do not even need LLM or LLB here. All right, we just need a simple short idea about those particular concepts. Okay, these are the laws, these are the bills that have been into controversy, these are the bodies, these are the constitutional bodies, these are the statutory bodies, right? And what do these bodies do, right? Especially constitutional body, if you see anything, any news related to constitutional body, get very active about it, right? If there is some very prominent Supreme Court judgment that is coming, right? Supreme Court judgment that has become a huge debate. And how will you get to know about it? Firstly, through newspaper. If you see a lot of discussion going on in the newspaper regarding that, automatically it becomes very important. If there's some huge amendment that is taking place, right, or some appointment that is taking place in the constitutional body, or some very important statutory body, automatically becomes very important, right? Or international and national institution also uh, come into these areas. Now, importance, I'm sure by now you would have, if you have seen the previous year question paper, a lot of topics would have felt like Mr. B, है ना? Wherein I don't know what is it. I'm sure a lot of students would have gone through this, and you would just know nothing about that particular topic, and you would just be ram bharose to read it and understand it on the spot on the examination day and then get to the answer. That is what I want to change today, right? That is why these sessions, that is what you need to change in your strategy. You need to get at least aware of those topics so that once you see that topic, it does not give your mind a message that, oh, this is something new. No, if that comes in your mind, especially in the examination hall, it is going to cause some damage to your efficiency, right? And that is where we are going to work. That is where is the importance of the legal updates. There are a lot of topics like election of president, like electoral bonds, like identification amendment, like free legal aid, NALSA. There are a lot of topics on which previous exams have asked, and I'm sure this would be a question, considering you are all budding lawyers, right? You would always be inquisitive, you would always have questions. So that's why I'm here with all the evidences. Now, here is the paper of CLAT 2023. Guys, CLAT 2023 had a passage on electoral bond. You would not have studied it in the class में नहीं आएगा ये. You would only study it if you are reading newspaper or you are reading some multiple resources on legal developments, right? And this is what was mentioned in our legal update, the compendium that you get in CL, right? Electoral bond. If you understood that small passage of electoral bond that we gave, or that you basically read about the topic, then this question would not, or this particular passage would not have been difficult for you, right? But those of you who never heard of electoral bond, और फिर सोचो एक बार में bomb गिरा electoral bond का, of course it would be a bit, it will give some seconds of setback to you, right? Again, wastage of time and causing some efficiency lack. Next is with regard to, there was this amendment that took place in CRPC, which was covered multiple times in our legal updates. That was about the identification, right? This was regarding the measurement and the fingerprints and all of that, those kind of stories that we discussed, right? This was the exact thing that came in CLAT 2023's paper. This passage. Now, if you would have read this passage pehli baar mein, of course, it would have taken at least 2 to 3 reading for you to at least comprehend those kind of areas and then get to the principle and then get to the answer, right? But if you're already aware of it, see how many times this has been covered in the legal updates area. That's why I'm saying it's very important. If you're ignoring legal updates, it is going to cost you a huge amount of time in your paper, right? Plus efficiency. And this is where toppers do the work differently, right? Not only just CLAT, I'm talking about AILET also. There was this direct question on EWS reservation, right? Wherein the answer was Janhit Abhiyan versus Union of India, and the direct question came from the legal update, right? And the video that I took. Not only that, in CLAT 2021 also, there was a question on SMA, right? SMA, Special Marriage Act. Firstly, you would be studying very limited stuffs about Marriage Act, or say family law, basically, right? Be it Special Marriage Act, be it Hindu Marriage Act, whatever it is. Now, I'm not asking you to do a PhD in personal laws or in family laws. I'm not asking you to do that. Why this became important? Because that was there in the discussion that year. If this thing was being discussed in that year, automatically it will come in the mind of the examiner, and there's a huge probability that there would be a passage on that particular topic, right? And that is what just happened. See, in CLAT 2021, you got a passage on Special Marriage Act, and that is what was mentioned in your legal updates area also, right? Not only that, AILET 2022 about the constitutionality of 1 year reservation, that was also covered. We covered it in our legal update sessions, right? Other than that, last year, I mean, in AILET 2022, again, there was this question on the CRPC's amendment that took place for identification for the measurement part. That was there in AILET paper also. It was there in CLAT also. It was there in AILET paper also. So I just want you to take note of these stuffs, right? Just to show why this thing becomes so important. First Black female judge, AILET 2023, right? This was the question this December, and you got it in the legal updates area. We discussed about it, right? So I'm not just saying this out of blue, as say asman se aake, ki these things are important. These words are being said through the analysis of the previous year question paper, and there is a pattern which has been seen in the previous year question paper, right? It's our job to understand. That's why we go through previous year question paper, right? Why do we do that? In order to get some pattern, in order to get something that can save our time and our hard work as well, right? So there should be some smart work that should be involved, and that is why when it comes to legal area, always focus on legal updates. Your conceptual clarity with regard to the legal development that is going on is important. Now there's no need of getting into in depth, just know about it, right? On Just be on the surface, or you can go one layer below it, not more than that is required, right? Now ma'am, what about other sources? You're saying आपका ही legal update, आपका ही video देखे क्या? नहीं, that is not important. Firstly, you can watch your I'm sorry, yeah, so you can watch uh, any video on the internet that you feel that is covering legal updates exhaustively. That is first. Second, pick any legal or say any GK compendium, follow the polity portion. Mostly you will find legal related issues there in the polity portion, but do not rely on that. Okay, lot of students think that okay ma'am, my polity section is over, it means mera ho gaya, my all legal updates are covered. It's not, it does not happen that way, right? And that is why I urge you to read a newspaper, right? Newspaper is the best source. हम लोग भी, हमें भी भगवान का कोई वरदान नहीं है कि हमें सपने आ जाते हैं लीगल अपडेट्स के. Of course we also read newspapers and several other sources in order to get these legal updates. So if you want to go ahead with that, you can do that as well. Other than that, mock tests are also good source of that, and mock analysis as well. Of course I always say mock test is incomplete without mock analysis. So if you're not giving mock analysis to the mock test, it is complete waste of time. So whenever you're taking mocks, take care also, take care of, or pay a bit more attention to the kind of topics that have been covered. And if you find any such topic which resembles to the topic that you have read in the newspaper, please focus on that also. Give a bit more attention to those topics. Yes, so that would be it from my side, guys. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. I will take like 2 or 3 questions, and post that. If you have any question, please feel free to put it in the comment box below. I'll be more than happy to help you out with this. How to analyze mock is a question of Shargun Singh. How to analyze mock? Okay, I will try to come up with a video on this also, because I have been receiving a lot of mails and a lot of queries, a lot of questions on this also. However, in short, if I am supposed to say, I would say pick up your mocks, maintain particular data. Okay, basically you should consider all your mocks data wise, and you should maintain it that way. Means, how many questions did I attempt, how many questions did I mark wrong, how many questions did not attempt, and how many questions did I attempt but it was all due to fluke that I marked it right, and how many questions did I marked because of fluke but I marked it wrong. So all these kind of data should be maintained section wise. Once you maintain this data for like 4 or 5 mocks, I'm pretty sure that you will be able to see which are the areas where you need to work, right? And once you start figuring out those areas, I think बस उतनी की जरूरत है, उसके बाद तो बस काम करना है, right? Mock analysis का काम बस उतना ही है, to give you those areas, to show you the mirror, the right mirror, to show you okay these are the areas that are weak areas. उसके बाद तो you know what subject, what area it is. Start taking topic test on those areas, start revising those areas, and again hit the mock next time, right? Next question is 8 months enough to get into top NLU? Nikhil, of course it is enough. 8 months kafi hai. How can we revise or make notes about current affairs, guys? Okay, now if you're going to ask me question, ma'am, are we supposed to make notes for legal updates also? Guys, please do not make any notes for legal updates, because I'm very sure once you start making notes for legal updates, it would be a PhD wala note, okay, which even you are not going to revise during the examination. Exam आएगा, वो इतने लंबे लंबे notes बना दोगे कि वो खुद भी नहीं पढ़ोगे, right? So if you're not going to read it, please do not make any notes. In fact, I would say just rely on the video, or just mark in your docs itself. ठीक है, इतना उस पे नोट्स बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. जस्ट गेट फेमिलियर विद इट, और एक बार पढ़ो, ऐसा पढ़ो कि हमको याद हो जाए वो, especially in legal updates. Okay, any other question? Okay, and Prathamesh is also asking about the current affairs. With regard to current affairs also, I would say if you are the person who feels that writing makes you basically helps you in retaining some information in your brain, please go ahead and start making notes. But if you are a person to whom writing actually does not help a lot, so please do not waste your time just because you're seeing your other peer mates doing that. Do not do that. Okay, that would be a waste of time. अगर आप सिर्फ एक वीकली मंथन लेके उसको ही बार बार रिवाइज कर लो, तो आई थिंक दैट वुड ऑल्सो बी मोर देन इनफ for your preparation. ठीक है मैम, is it important to start study logical basics? Nikhil, of course logical is a huge section in the paper. What do you mean that is it important to start logical reasoning? Of course it is important, and logical is such a tricky section that it will it takes time to show an improvement per se. ठीक है, लॉजिकल एक ऐसा थोड़ा ट्रिकी है, उसमें आपको थोड़ा लगे रहना पड़ता है, उसके बाद फिर आपको improvement दिखता है. What are the best sources for current affairs? Uh, if you ask me, I would say I always recommend a newspaper. If you're reading newspaper properly every day, I think that is the best source for current affairs, right? Everywhere, wherever you get any compendium on current affairs or anything of that sort, those people are also reading newspaper. It's just that they're reading multiple newspaper and multiple source from multiple sources, right? That is the only difference. So if you don't want to rely to any compendium or any material, just stick to newspaper, but ensure that you stick to that newspaper in a very loyal form. ठीक है, वो बिल्कुल committed way में होना चाहिए. So in that case, you will see the results. If not, I always suggest read newspaper for like 45 minutes or 1 hour, and then give half an hour or 1 hour to the GK compendium. In our case, it's Manthan. In CL, you get Manthan. You would have received Manthan. Take Manthan, keep revising it. Yeah, multiple revision is the only key because we do not have the Bhagwan ka vardhan कि एक बार पढ़ लिया और जिंदगी भर के लिए हमें याद हो गया है. Right? GK is something which is very tricky. You need to help your brain to retain the information. Which book is best for legal reasoning? Bhumika, there's no one book for legal reasoning per se, I would say. Okay. Make list of the topics that have been asked in the previous year question papers. Focus on those areas. Start studying about those topics. That is how you prepare for legal reasoning. And the way is to solve as many questions as you can, especially in legal reasoning. ओके, नो मैटर आपने शायद पीएचडी भी कर ली हो, बट स्टिल उसके बाद भी शायद आपसे क्वेश्चंस ना हिले, ओनली बिकॉज because of the time frame and the kind of question that is being asked. Okay, the kind of approach that is required there is a bit different. ठीक है, ma'am, I'm doing Manthan monthly and daily. Is it enough? Okay, Nikhil, I'm assuming that you're asking that you are doing monthly Manthan every day, and is it enough? Yes, it is enough. Okay, but at least newspaper को एक बार हम flip तो मार ही सकते हैं ना, just to see what all are there in the headlines. ठीक है, if you have that crunch of time, at least go through the headlines and sub headlines एक बार. I think that would be more than enough. ठीक है. Ma'am, will the big sample paper book given by CL help in covering legal GK? Yes, yes, yes. For legal GK, if you're asking that green color booklet, I'm supposing, I think वो green color का booklet है अभी. That is more than enough for legal GK. Okay, that is very comprehensive. Yes, so you can rely on that, Ritvik. Okay, any other question, guys? Any other question? Ma'am, do we need to learn laws of criminal torts and contracts? I mean, is it important to know everything? Oh my God, Nikhil, I'll give you one simple funda, okay? And maybe this will clear your doubt. Are you already in college? अगर NLU या फिर CLAT चाहेगा कि आप पहले से ही सब कुछ जान के आओ कॉलेज में, तो फिर आप क्यों उनको पैसे देने वाले हो कॉलेज में? वो 5 साल आपसे क्या करवाएंगे अगर आप पहले ही टॉर्ट्स और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स और क्रिमिनल लॉ सब कुछ सीख के जाओगे तो? एंड दैट टू ऑल ऑफ देम, यू आर सेइंग अबाउट ऑल दीज लॉज, everything about these laws. Of course there would be no point, right? So it's not like they want you to be uh, a graduate, a law graduate before joining for the graduation. Okay, they just want you to know the basics of it. Bilkul basic bole to ingredients. Okay, just know the topics, what are the ingredients, what are the components, that's it. A bit of case laws here and there, more than enough. Whatever your teacher is teaching in the class, more than enough. Okay, utna stick karo. And especially, and for the legal updates, I would say just watch these videos. That would be more than enough for you. Okay. Okay, a lot of questions. Okay. Ma'am, should I read legal updates from Lively apart from legal updates? Divyansh, please do not get into live law. Now, if there are people who are going to ask from live law and bar and bench, guys, please do not get into that. वो follow करना जब college चले जाओ तभी. Okay, abhi if you get into that, firstly you will be so exhausted because every day if you would see abhi bol ke to bada aasan lag raha hai, but once you would go and start doing that, then you would realize how hectic that is. Okay, that is not an easy job. It is going to entire day's time to do that. Okay, so better hai, do not do that. Just when we are working hard, then why do you need to work for it, right? We are working on it only to save your time. So if you also willing to waste your time, then तो पक्का ही वो किसी काम का नहीं फिर, right? Ma'am, I'm talking about the book written by, हाँ हाँ, that's what I'm saying, Ritvik. ठीक है? Yeah, that will help. Ma'am, I'm scoring 40s, 50s right now in marks. It really demotivates me. Nikhil, do you have your examination, CLAT का examination next month? If it is there in next month, अगर in case आपका CLAT अलग हो रहा है कहीं मार्स में या फिर जुपिटर पे, तो फिर आप टेंशन लो. 40-50 आ रहा है, अगले महीने एग्जाम है, बड़ी खराब बात है. ठीक है, बट इफ यू हैव लाइक 8 months in hand, which means enough time, then please start taking marks, analyzing it, figure out what are the areas that you need to work on, start working on it. ठीक है, rather than getting demotivated तब होना जब नवंबर में ऐसे 40-50 आ रहे हो. Okay, any other question, guys? Okay, I'm assuming that there's no more question here. Okay, perfect. So on that note, I would be ending the session, guys. Thank you so much for attending. And if in case there's any question that is left, or बाद में अगर कोई question आता है, please feel free to ask your question, to put your question in the comment box below. Yes, and I'll definitely answer all your questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a very productive evening.